Please come in. You're right on time. The door only opens when the clock strikes midnight. Georgia and Hannah are preparing to broadcast from the belfry. Just like this old bell tower, they have many stories to tell. Some old and some new. Follow me up these stairs, but mind your step. Ah, they're waiting for you.
Recording in progress. Oh, we only have a couple more of those left.
We have this episode and one more episode, and then season 1 is over, everyone.
Yeah, I mean, we will have our bonus things. Obviously,
Yeah.
we have our Call of Cthulhu one shot.
We
which will
sure
be
do.
Awesome. And then
The rest we need to plan out a lot.
yeah, but we've got literally so much time.
Yeah. And ideas. We have so many ideas.
We have so many ideas. I'm not worried.
This coffee is trash today. Ugh.
Same.
Oh, McDonald's, you failed both of us. Oh.
What? Did they put something in there that they weren't supposed to?
Hey. Hi, Sugar.
Hi, Sugar.
Hey,
Bye, Sugar.
did you get extra espresso in your coffee?
Yeah.
Or in both coffees?
I might have accidentally done both copies.
Well, this has an extra shot, which is probably why I was like, this tastes like trash.
My apologies.
Look at Luna. Wait.
I was like, yeah. The
She's
mic is
right
the
there.
mic is literally lighter than she is. Are you serious? That's so funny.
Are you pouting? She hates not getting all of the attention. And because Sugar is so like nervous about being in a strange house, she's getting a lot of attention.
Yeah.
And
Well, it really seems like Luna doesn't like any attention.
yeah, well, listen, my cat is literally me, okay? She doesn't
She
want all
hates-
of the attention, but she needs all of the attention.
She hates all of the attention, but she still wants you to try really hard.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Don't sing happy birthday to me, but oh my God, I'm gonna be sad if you don't acknowledge my birthday at all. Okay. Hey, it's my birthday in like literally tomorrow's my parents' anniversary.
Oh well.
I should text my dad. Hold on. I have a feeling he'll forget. Don't forget tomorrow is your wedding anniversary.
Anniversary. Nice.
Cool. All right. I don't know how many other people have to remind their parents this their anniversary. I used to have to remind both of them. They both didn't know because they didn't know what the date was, and I always knew the date because their anniversary is August 18th. It's literally 1 month before my birthday.
Yeah.
And once I told my mom that, she has always remembered.
Yeah, because she remembers your birthday.
Yeah, but I don't think my dad remembers my birthday either, so it's fine.
He's too busy thinking about Dad Rock or something. I don't know.
Elton John.
Elton John.
Okay. Oh my God.
Bless you.
That tastes like hash browns. Woo!
Hell yeah. Oh, dude, when I went to McDonald's, I did it on the app. I ordered 2 hash browns. I ordered a large iced coffee and I ordered a medium hot coffee. And I received the coffees and one of the hash browns. The other hash brown in the bag turned into a sausage egg McMuffin.
Oh no.
They handed me the bag and I was like, thank you, bye. Because I was like, I gotta get back and get my computer going and stuff. And when I was getting out of the car, I'm like, this is suspiciously heavy for 2 hash browns
Yeah.
from McDonald's. And I looked in the bag. I'm like, oh, that's a sandwich. I handed it right to Seth because I don't really like the McDonald's sausage sandwiches. I like the bacon better. He was like, I'll eat it. Shoot. So yeah,
Um,
while the coffee may be a little bit dookie today,
yeah.
free
I don't
Sambo.
it's not, now that I know it has like it has espresso added to it. It's not that
Hmm.
it tastes bad. It's just you know how sometimes it's sweeter than other times? This time it
Yeah.
just kind of tasted like not sweet at all, which is what I always expect when I drink it. But now that
Hmm.
I know it has espresso in it, I know that's why and it makes sense and I'm like, well, okay, I
You can
guess.
like live with it.
I can rationalize it at least. Speaking of coffee, the Starbucks logo, is it a
Uh-huh.
siren or a mermaid?
His pretty lady with pretty hair. She got wavy hair. She got a. Is she wearing a star on her head or is it a starfish? Or is she not wearing anything on her head?
I don't think so. I think it's
I
just
don't
her.
know.
Well, she has like the stars are like around. Just
Yeah.
let's just look at the logo.
Yeah. Did you know there's a button for AI companion on Zoom?
Yeah, I've never touched it because I think it's weird.
I'm
Oh,
scared.
she has like a crown that and the front of it is a star.
Oh, okay. I thought so.
I did actually go to Starbucks yesterday because I was going over to MPL and sometimes the best place to get on the Blue Line is over there by the bookstore
Hmm.
on campus. And they have the Starbucks right in there and I was like, okay. And they have basically like boba lemonade now.
Oh, wow.
It was
I
really
mean,
good.
they're really trying everything to
Yeah, it was like a
get some
berry.
sales back.
Yeah, it was like a berry lemonade boba thing. It was fine.
Anyway, Starbucks, mermaid or siren? Ah, pretty lady. That's final answer.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you later.
Okay.
But we are going to start talking about sirens.
Hell yeah.
Wee-oo. Wee-oo.
Wee woo. Wee woo.
Wee-oo.
Wee woo. Wee woo.
Not those sirens. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Imagine Patrick Star dressed as a siren.
as a siren, that probably
Yeah.
exists somewhere with
Oh God. Anyway,
the,
sorry.
the word siren itself is hotly debated.
Is it?
Apparently, I don't know. Some
I don't
people
know.
think its etymology is older than ancient Greek, while others say the name is a combination of Greek words for rope or cord, as well as a word meaning to tie or join, resulting in a new word meaning binder or entangler, as in one who entangles, in this case, through magical song.
Okay.
And as most of us know, sirens will lure sailors with their enchanting music and shipwreck them on rocky coasts of remote islands. It's probably a worse way to go.
I mean, yeah. Could
Some say,
drown. Just regular. You could just
yeah,
fall off the ship. That's embarrassing.
some say they can even charm the wind, which I suppose it makes sense and is beneficial if you want your song to be carried on the wind to reach
Yeah.
sailors. Did you make it to season 3 of What We Do in the Shadows?
Yeah. Sorry. I don't know why. I thought, okay, my mind is an enigma because you said what we do in the shadows, and my mind thought our flag means death. And I was like, third season? Am I dreaming right now? Am I dreaming? And then it clicked, and I was like, I'm an idiot. Okay, anyway, yes, I made it to season 3 of What We Do in the Shadows.
Do you remember the siren episode?
No, that was like
Oh,
ages ago. That was like a couple of years ago.
I haven't watched it for a while, but um there is an episode with a siren, and Colin Robinson falls in love with the siren. And it's when Laszlo is like trying to be besties with Colin.
Yeah.
And Laszlo is like, no, you're not in love with her, and she's just, it's just her song.
Yeah.
I do think Colin Robinson was actually in love with her, but just
Mm.
agreed with Laszlo. It was kind of sad. But anyway, in that one, it's a really good episode. But I thought it was really weird that the siren was half bird, but turns out that's actually more accurate to Greek mythology. So in the OG lore, sirens are half bird, half woman, singing or playing instruments like harps or lyres. Sometimes they are depicted with wings and sometimes not. Traditionally, in mythology, they were between 2 and 4 sirens only. It's not like there's a whole species of them or, like a whole,
Yeah.
yeah, it's just like 2 to 4. And there is little consistency regarding what their names actually were. Their island is described as being littered with decomposing bodies and sun-bleached bones. And
Slay.
in one of his notebooks, Leonardo da Vinci wrote that the siren sings so sweetly that she lulls the mariners to sleep, then she climbs up on the ships and kills the sleeping mariners. And some people believe that they were just getting revenge for the wrongs done to them, like being cursed by Demeter for reasons I'll come back to in just a second. Others think they sing out of grief for their fate. They tell Odysseus that they knew all the sadness in the world and everything that would happen, and the only way to deal with the pain was to share it with others, which is depressing. And others still believe that the sirens were just lonely and desired human company, so they had the sailors come to their islands, but there's nothing to sustain human life on their islands, so the sailors die of starvation. Either way, it sounds depressing and lonely. There are various stories that explain the origin of the sirens, but the most popular story is that they were handmaidens to Persephone, or that they were helping Demeter search for Persephone after she went into the underworld. And so Demeter grants them wings so they can search faster and further, but they don't find her, and in her anger, Demeter curses them to live on rocky islands and to only die if someone escapes their song, which is what Odysseus does.
Are you going to talk about that movie Sinbad?
No, but we can.
Okay. I remember the sirens in that movie.
Like the animated one?
Yeah.
Yeah. I
That's very good.
remember nothing about that. In the Odyssey, Odysseus has his crew plug their ears with beeswax so they aren't tempted by the siren song, but he wants to hear it. So he orders them to tie him to the mast of their ship and not release him no matter how much he begged. Post-Homeric authors have added that once the ship passed the sirens, they all flung themselves into the sea and drowned, fulfilling the theory that they can only die once someone lived after hearing their song. So theoretically, they're extinct.
I guess.
Sirens also show up in Jason and the Argonauts. Orpheus was on board the Argo, and being able to play his lyre more beautifully than the siren could sing, he drowned out their voices with his music, and the crew was safe.
Yeah.
Pompous ass man is what that is.
I was thinking that that's like the equivalent of the guy with the guitar at the campfire who's like drowning all other conversations out, and you're like forced to listen to him because he's singing his like Wonderwall so loud that you're like, I can't like shout over him having a conversation with my friend. So I guess I'll just listen, and then it's not good.
Also in Greek mythology, Scylla and Charybdis, who I mentioned in the Kraken,
yes,
were supposed to live in the same area as the sirens. Obviously, it's all Greek mythology.
Mm-hmm.
But presumably maybe in like that same strait, and are also sometimes depicted as having fishy attributes. And in Etruscan art, Scylla was even depicted as having two tails, just like the Starbucks logo.
Yeah.
Depictions of sirens have been seen with psychopomp characteristics as well, which is a common association with birds. And they've been found in the context of grave goods in Spain. They were called the Muses of the Lower World, and their song is said to be, again, calling to Persephone, maybe still trying to find her in death in the underworld. Similarly, birds in the Mediterranean are often linked with hidden knowledge, like prophetic nature of the siren song. And birds are, well, I just wrote the same thing twice. Birds are also commonly thought to carry souls to the underworld. That literally is the definition of a psychopomp.
It's okay.
But also that's a theme that Lovecraft wrote. He wrote whippoorwills into a lot of his stories that were like omens of death.
Yeah.
And then just a fun fact, other depictions of women with bird parts. The Ba in ancient Egypt is the part of the soul that can travel between the worlds of the living and the dead. And that's depicted as a bird with a human head and represents the soul's mobility and how it looks as it literally like flies out of the tomb. Fun fact.
I love talking about this has been a common theme over several of our episodes, just like things that will help guide you or like bring you to the afterlife,
like
that kind
guides.
of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are a lot of creatures or beings
Yeah.
with that. Like people throughout time have just made up all kinds of stories to describe somebody who does that or something that does that. And
Yeah.
it's kind of it describes human nature really well. Like we don't want to be lonely in life, and of course we're going to be terrified when we're about to die. So of course we're going to want something that we think is safe, right? Except for a few things like this.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's like something evil that will escort you to the afterlife. I don't know.
Well, and it's some of the things we have talked about are thought of as evil, but other times they're just like, oh, this thing is here to guide me. You know, they're
They're like
not.
neutral.
Yeah. Like even Hermes, I think, was described as a psychopomp.
Yeah.
Like he would escort you to the river Styx, I think. But Hermes also has wings, right? He's the winged messenger. So
Yeah.
I think like the concept of a psychopomp is really interesting.
Yeah.
Like that humans created this is fascinating.
We're so smart.
Anyway, so this fucking Jerome guy comes along. Fucking
Mhm.
guy. He is a priest and a historian and a theologian. You know, he's one of those guys. This is early on. And he said the truth of the siren is that they were actually prostitutes, and them causing shipwrecks is a metaphor for the fact that they led travelers to poverty or destitution.
Very nice.
Classic men blaming women for everything
Yeah, seriously.
throughout history. Similarly, another guy in the 6th century, Isidore of Seville, not to be confused with the barber of Seville. His theory is that because of Venus, or Aphrodite, goddess of love, beauty, pleasure, sex, like sinful things, because she was created from the waves, the sirens must be of Venus and therefore also of the waves. And I don't really understand the connection that he's making.
No, not really. But sure, let's just roll with it.
Yeah, but anyway, this is around the time that sirens become conflated with mermaids
Oh,
and the fishtails that we typically think of today.
because of Venus.
Yeah.
Okay.
This morning I was thinking about how this is really off topic, how I really just want a big print of the birth of Venus in my bedroom.
Mm.
So I can be like, she's supposed to be the most beautiful woman in all of history, and her tummy looks like my tummy.
Hell yeah. I know you can get prints of things at like Walmart for
Yeah.
pretty cheap.
I mean, I'm sure you could, Amazon or anywhere, but you could just like order a poster and put it in a nice frame, you know?
I had ordered a poster of something from Walmart one time because I found it to be cheaper than anywhere else. And
Yeah.
I went to the Walmart and they were like, yeah, our printer hasn't been working for 2 days. So I'm like, okay, so when can I come get it? I don't know when it's going to get fixed. And they never called me. So
Great.
perhaps it would be better to go with something like Amazon where they can reliably get it to you.
I talked about my body image issues in therapy yesterday. It's great.
You mean 2 days ago?
Yeah, whenever that was. I'm so tired. So, mermaids conflated with sirens,
Yes.
and they are described the same way as mermaids in a 7th century Anglo-Saxon manuscript called something straight out of D&D or called Cthulhu, the Liber Monstrorum.
The what? Liber
Monstrorum, Book of Monsters.
Oh.
The two commonalities being that their lower half isn't legs and their amazing singing. So mermaids are beautiful and lure sailors to their doom just by laying on the rocks looking thirsty. And sirens are not
looking thirsty. Okay. So, I don't know why that took me out. It did.
Sirens are not hot, but they have voices so beautiful that sailors assumed they had to be super hot and were shipwrecked trying to follow their singing.
Sure.
Until this point in history when sirens also get to be hot. In this 7th century manuscript. Yeah. One theory for the conflation is that depictions of Scylla and Charybdis with tails, as I described, were confused to be depictions of sirens because of their geographical proximity. Mermaids are wider spread throughout more recent folklore, but the first known mermaid story is from 1000 BC in Assyria.
Okay.
The goddess Atargatis fell in love with a human shepherd, but because he was only a human, he literally couldn't handle her divine energy and died when they had sex. Get it, queen?
Me when she when she me when
But not before she was able to get pregnant with a girl named Semiramis, who was the future queen of Assyria. And after she gave birth, she threw herself into the ocean. But the gods were like, man, she is too hot to just die right now.
Okay.
There's a real theme about conventional attractiveness
Seriously.
in the stories.
Damn, they had something to say about beautiful women, I'm saying.
She is too hot to die right now. So they gave her a fishtail, turning her into the first mermaid.
Like that would make her less hot?
No, just so she wouldn't die.
Oh. Also, you can't have sex with something that has a fishtail.
That's what you think.
Well, hey man, I don't want to judge.
Pliny the Elder describes many sightings of mermaids off the coast of Gaul, where France and Belgium is now. So many that their corpses regularly wash up on the shore. I would like to know what they were actually finding corpses of.
Yeah.
Because we know they're not mermaids. But fun fact about Pliny the Elder, he died in the eruption of Vesuvius.
Yeah.
Which Doctor Who left out on that Pompeii episode. But in an effort to get to safety, this is one of my favorite facts. I think I learned this from Puppet History. In an effort to get to safety, he was at his friend's house because she needed help, and then they were freaking out about the volcano and everything, so they're trying to run away. In an effort to get to safety, he and all the people from that household all left with pillows strapped to their heads,
Yeah.
which is, it's not funny, but it's funny.
What I want to know is how people found, like, were the people in the household, did they live? Because he was like found suffocated on the beach, I believe, from the
Um,
because the polyclastic cloud was like encroaching.
yeah.
Because he died obviously after the initial um ash dropping, like during the big polyclastic cloud because of how hot it was. Like most people died then. Um, those who were too afraid to leave or like, oh, didn't have the money to escape via ship because it was like a whole thing that like he was supposed to leave,
Yeah, but he got a note
but
from his friend.
so he just ended up staying to help other people and was
Yeah,
like, that's fine.
hold on, I still have this article open.
The younger will take over for me. And so he did, but I thought it was Pliny. Am I tripping?
I think it's either.
Okay. Yeah, how would we know?
He's at work on his manuscript, and his sister is there, the mother of Pliny the Younger. Um, she sees a cloud,
It is Pliny.
and he's like, "Oh shit." He orders for a boat
Yeah.
to be made ready to make further investigations. However, just as he's leaving, a note from his friend Restina or Rectina, I'm not really sure.
Mm,
Whatever. I did not study ancient Greek. Thank
that's
you.
fine. What? You don't know a dead
I
language? That's crazy.
was not interested in classics in that
I
regard.
know.
At this point, his mission changes from one of inspection to one of rescue. He launches a small fleet of warships with the purpose of helping others along the coast. Once he reaches the friend's house, located about 5 kilometers from Pompeii, his helmsman advises him to turn back. But wasn't this at the end of the new Indiana Jones movie? No, that was different. That was the
That was
war.
different.
Sorry.
Yeah. It's okay.
Just making shit up. It would be funny if it was this.
I know.
He attempts to calm his friend by carrying out normal tasks. He takes a bath, he rests, then he has dinner with the intention of sitting out the worst of the danger. But by early evening, it's clear the situation is becoming increasingly more dangerous. He describes seeing broad sheets of fire and leaping flames. Meanwhile, houses visible in the distance are set alight by the flow of lava. He and
There
his
was no
friends
lava.
decide to remain indoors and try to sleep. However, he is woken a few hours later by his flames, who point out the new dangers outside the window. The internal courtyard is filling up fast with ash and pumice stones, making an escape increasingly difficult. The building is starting to shake from small tremors caused by the eruption. They weigh the advantages and disadvantages of leaving or remaining. Outside, the falling pumice stones are getting larger, but inside, the foundations of the house are becoming unstable. They decide it's best to escape while still possible, and so they leave with pillows tied to their heads to protect themselves from the falling pumice stones. Blah 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 blah. He decides to
When
head to the beach to investigate what.
I was just gonna say when I was younger, um, when I first started out in archaeology, all I wanted to do was excavate a Herculaneum.
I
All I wanted to
mean,
do. That's why I wanted to be a bioarchaeologist.
that's fair.
I mean, well, for originally it was bones, and then I was like, oh my God, wait a second. I can go excavate people who were uh,
Yeah.
entombed because of Mount Vesuvius erupting. And I used to be really into the Mount Vesuvius eruption,
There was
kind of
a
like the Titanic.
Yeah, there was a time when I wanted to save all the shit that's getting blown up every day
Yeah,
in the Middle East.
yeah.
But I vividly remember my theory professor saying archaeology doesn't need any more martyrs.
Facts.
And this was like 2 years after I think about him all the time. What's his name? The archaeologist in Palmyra who was beheaded by ISIS.
Sorry, Milo has thrice knocked over my trash can. I don't remember.
But you know who I'm talking about.
I do, yeah.
He was from there and he spent his remaining years trying to get the artifacts out of the city and protect them and the like Pomeroy heritage, and then they murdered him. And anyway, Pliny the Elder decides to head to the beach to investigate whether an escape by sea is still possible. The waves are too high to launch even a large boat, and that's when he starts to struggle and he keeps asking for cold water. And then there's flames approaching and the intoxicating smell of sulfur. The last detail known about him is that he was seen leaning on two slaves, trying to stand with little success. 2 days later, his body is found on the beach. Pliny the Younger suggests his uncle died of asphyxiation. He apparently was known to suffer from respiratory problems already, and it's believed the poisonous fumes fatally restricted his windpipe. But it doesn't say anything about everyone else. I can't imagine they got too far if... Well, his sister was still there and his nephew, and they were all together, so unless they didn't go back with him. Anyway,
Well,
that was a fun
anyway.
tangent.
It sure was. We should talk about this more someday. That'd be fun.
Pompeii.
Yeah, maybe not here, but you and I can just talk about it.
Yeah, it's volcano day.
Oh yeah,
Wait,
I'm waiting. Ah,
um,
what do you do while I'm gone? Wait for you to get back.
Pompeii erupted, well, Vesuvius Pompeii.
Yeah.
Pompeii died on the 24th of August.
Oh shit, you're right.
It's almost volcano day.
Oh my god.
Anyway, the earliest surviving artistic depiction of a mermaid in England is from Durham Castle in the 11th century. Shout out to Durham for having a good archaeology master's program.
Okay.
It's supposed to be one of the best for biowork anyway.
Yeah.
In British folklore, they are bad omens, both foretelling and instigating disaster, as well as a sign of bad weather ahead. Some believed they could swim up rivers and into freshwater lakes, as seen in this story, which tells of a laird, so it's presumably in Scotland, who hears a woman screaming and takes off to go help her, but he is stopped by his servant, who warns him not to go. And then the mermaid gets super pissed and screams that she would have killed him if it weren't for his servant. Hopefully he got a raise. Like
I hope so.
An extra potato a week or something. I
Oh
don't
my
know.
god. Because that's how people were paid. Sure, for sure.
In Scotland, yeah, it is.
Well, I don't know if it would be. It would be like sheep or some shit, you know?
You get an extra haggis.
Butter. Well, yeah.
Are you ready to talk about everyone's favorite guy to fucking hate?
Richard fucking Burton?
No.
Oh.
Everybody. It's 1493.
Oh no.
Christopher Columbus.
Oh my god. Okay.
Reports seeing 3 sirens or mermaids off the coast of Hispaniola.
Uh-huh.
He said they weren't as beautiful as they're portrayed in art, as they seem to have some masculine features in their faces. It's now believed that what he actually saw were manatees.
Oh, yeah.
And he was still pretty modest in how unattractive he thought they were. So I'm drawing the conclusion that Christopher Columbus would fuck a manatee.
I thought it was like a thing that he did. I fully thought, because I thought it was a thing that he like had sex with other like land animals.
Is it?
I thought so.
I don't know
it's
that.
just like a rumor, and that's how everyone has herpes now.
Oh, okay.
Or
Sure.
no, wait. I don't think it's herpes. I think it's like a chlamydia thing.
Just need to Google.
I know.
Did Christopher Columbus sleep with a manatee is the first search.
Yep. The origins of syphilis.
Syphilis.
The most popular hypothesis so far holds Christopher Columbus and his sailors liable for bringing the disease to Europe from the New World.
Sea cow. One of the key reasons to question the Columbus manatee legend is the absence of concrete historical evidence. Columbus's journals, which provide detailed accounts of his voyage, do not contain any mention of intimate encounters with manatees or similar creatures. Poor little guys.
The first known syphilis epidemic was during the Renaissance in 1495. I have a book called The Myth of Syphilis. Don't I? Where is it? Where are you? Exploring the long-standing question of the origins of syphilis, this book proposes a new understanding of the dynamic interactions of disease and culture in the New World. It brings together a complete picture of the diverse pathological evidence of treponematosis, okay, a bacterial disease manifest in the North American archaeological record at the time of Christopher Columbus' first journey, presenting a strong argument against the earlier identification of modern venereal syphilis with indigenous North American treponemal disease. For almost 500 years, Native North Americans have been blamed for giving the world syphilis and by implication accused of sexual immorality. Contributors to this volume identify and investigate the origins and various manifestations of all ranges of treponemal diseases across the continent and show that the true picture of their evolution is both different and far more interesting than the past scholarship suggests. So,
it's Christopher Columbus's fault.
Fascinating. I have not read this yet. But Mary Lucas Powell is one of the editors to this book.
Oh, we need to add this to our bookshelf.
Yes. It's The Myth of Syphilis, edited by Mary Lucas Powell and Della Collins Cook. I don't know why I never read this. There's very few pictures. That's probably why. That's fucking funny.
It's Christopher Columbus's fault.
Potentially, yes, but it is not the indigenous people's fault.
No.
It's also argued
Christopher Columbus's fault.
That it already existed in Europe prior to the first epidemic.
In 1822, the Fiji mermaid was first exhibited in London, and then it went to America to be displayed by P.T. Barnum in 1842. Turns out it was the torso and head of a juvenile monkey sewn onto the back half of a fish. And this would inspire many other fakes over the years. But also the mermaid that's in my living room.
Yeah.
We could probably post a picture of that. That one Shannon made a while back. It's like one of the biggest pieces he's ever made. And you can see other stuff at our convention table, which
you can.
Is happening like 2 days after this comes out.
No. Wait. 2 days before. Yes.
We only have one episode that comes out the week after.
No, it's
right?
2.
Oh, well.
Because our last episode we ended with come see us in 2 days or something like that.
Oh,
like this weekend or something.
Okay, well, never mind. You can come see pictures of it. Yeah, that's right. This is on the 5th. Yeah. Well, maybe we'll post pictures of stuff, so if you can't come, you can still be like, can I buy that?
Yeah.
Anyway, in Destination Truth, which is Josh Gates' original show before Expedition Unknown, when he would hunt like ghosts and cryptids as well. Yeah. Hello, Jessica. Do we still need to get tickets for that?
Oh yeah, I did that.
We're going to see Josh Gates, motherfucker. Anyway, in Destination Truth, which maybe he'll talk about, he traveled to both Papua New Guinea and Israel after contemporary reports. People still report seeing mermaids, at least in those locations. He, of course, didn't really find anything conclusive, but I just kind of like that he went and looked and tried to debunk stuff, and
yeah,
that's fun. Similarly, I wanted to mention the Selkie from Celtic and Norse mythology, which means seal folk. They're were seals. They change from seals into human form by shedding their skin. Folk tales commonly feature Selkie women having their seal skins stolen after a man finds them naked on the shore and convinces her to marry him. And she feels like she is held captive, probably because she kind of is. And she longs for the sea. Sometimes they have children together, but either way, she will eventually find her stolen seal skin and peace back out to the sea.
Never mind. I forgot what I was gonna say.
Was it something about men capturing women
No.
because they suck?
Well, I mean that we've already kind of established that that's a shitty thing that happens.
Yeah. You know, I was thinking while I was taking my coffee-induced poop earlier, I was thinking we
Mhm.
should also have, you know, the buttons that say like or people have like t-shirts and stuff that say my tummy hurts and I'm mad at the government. We could have ones that say my tummy hurts and I'm mad at the patriarchy.
I love that.
Um,
My tummy hurts and men suck.
my tummy hurts and I hate men. Um,
Mm.
Male Selkies are super hot in human form also, and have great
yeah.
powers of seduction over human women. They often seduce the wives of fishermen who are dissatisfied and waiting for their husbands to return. Lonely women who are mad that their husbands are gone for such long periods of time.
Yeah, how dare they?
How dare they? Some legends say that Selkies can only take human form infrequently, sometimes it's every 7 years, which is pretty common in a lot of folklore things, werewolves
Yeah.
and everything, because they are bodies that house condemned souls. They are either humans who have committed great sin or they are fallen angels.
Oh,
Kind of like werewolves,
yeah, that's
but
interesting.
they're were-seals.
Yeah.
I like Selkies. I wanted to just throw those in there as well. There is something called the aquatic ape theory. I did not get
God.
super deep into this. I just wanted to mention it. It dates back to the 6th century BC when
Full
a philosopher named Anaximander, when I think humans evolved from an aquatic species. And this generally falls under the realm of pseudoscience these days and is obviously disregarded by anthropologists. Um, but yeah. What I was reading about it, the main complaint about it is that it ignores a lot of evolution, really,
Yeah.
or like how certain traits in humans have evolved. It kind of ignores that. Um, Now let's go back to Starbucks.
Okay.
The Starbucks logo is a siren, not a mermaid. And there are a couple of different theories about who the Starbucks siren is. One popular belief is that it's Melusina, who is also known as the alchemical siren or the twin-tailed mermaid.
Uh-huh.
Melusina is found in medieval legend, and she was cursed to turn into a serpent from the waist down whenever she bathed, probably because she exposed an ankle or something. The legend says that she was found in the forest by Raymond, Duke of Aquitaine, and he begged her to become his bride. And she agreed, but only if he promised to leave her alone on Saturdays so she could bathe in peace. Well, this guy had to be a nosy fuck and sees her two tails while she's in the bath and freaks out. And she, of course, feels all betrayed, so she turns into a dragon and just takes off.
Oh my God. Mood.
Her duality is supposed to represent some of the medieval perceptions of sexuality. And the concept of duality is also important in alchemy, the two tails representing the unity of earth and water, which I think is appropriate for coffee since you need both to grow a coffee tree.
Yeah.
Another fun fact, if you leave coffee trees untamed, they can grow up to 16 feet tall.
Wait, really?
Isn't that crazy?
I did not know that.
Because most places just keep them in bush form.
Yeah, I want a 16-foot tall coffee tree.
I have a little coffee tree. It's tiny. I didn't know that's what it was when we bought it. I just liked its leaves. But when we were buying plants for the terrarium last month, I was
Mhm.
like, oh, this one. And then when we got everything home and Shannon was looking at it, he's like, this is a fucking coffee tree. And I was like, oh, okay. Also the two tails are associated with enlightenment.
Yeah, that's a thing. Like the more tails you have, the more enlightened you are. We talked about that
Yeah,
when I talked about the kitsune.
yeah,
I'm sure there's other, yeah. That's
yeah.
awesome.
Now, I ended up, this is from the notes that I did a couple years ago now, but I went down a fucking crazy rabbit hole. So, Ashtoreth is a Phoenician goddess. Her name means star.
Mhm.
She is Ishtar in Assyria, Astarte in Greek and Roman mythology. She was a goddess of fertility, sexuality, and war. So I Googled like Starbucks mermaid, who's a Starbucks mermaid, whatever. Um, and I found myself on a page, and it started out seeming pretty normal and interesting, and then it devolved really quickly. This guy describes worship as essentially a form of currency. Bending the knee is a form of paying tax. Temple prostitution is used to honor Ashtoreth. And then he basically translates that into, because it's a form of currency, bucks, slang for dollar. So Starbucks equals Ashtoreth worship.
Okay.
He then goes on to say that Starbucks is engaging in cultural evangelism and
Yeah.
that it's pagan worship. He then quotes another guy called Richard Merrick who writes something called the interference theory. So Richard Merrick says something that I think is kind of a cool marketing strategy. Richard Merrick says, identified variously as a double-tailed siren or a Melusine mermaid, the Starbucks logo is actually a Venusian fertility goddess. The star in Starbucks is the pentagonal orbit of Venus, while the siren herself is a European version of Ostara, Astarte, and Ishtar, among many others. She is portrayed as a sea goddess because the morning star appears to rise out of the eastern sea at dawn prior to resurrecting the sun. Thus, a cup of coffee can be equated with the morning star as it also resurrects us in the morning when we drink it. But the other guy from the article goes off about how this is blasphemy because the only true resurrection is of Jesus and through the sacrament of Holy Communion. Drinking coffee is pagan sacrament, and the Starbucks logo is idolatry.
It is now for me. I guess, well, I haven't had Starbucks in a very long time.
Yeah, it's so expensive.
Yeah, and they do
I,
shitty stuff. Like bust unions and
yeah.
give
I
money to
mm-hmm.
oppressive regimes that are killing thousands of people.
Yeah. I only went yesterday because it was right there. That was a wild ride that I went on once upon a time. Just trying to figure out what the Starbucks logo was supposed to be.
Hell yeah.
It was one of those things when I ended up navigating to the home page, I realized the website was called Comfort for Christians.
Oh, okay. That can
None,
mean one of two things.
none of the Christians I know would think of coffee or a Starbucks in that regard, but
Well, no, that's just some
uh
delusional shit.
yeah. Anyway, I didn't really write down a whole lot of like I kind of consider Starbucks to be like pop culture. It's is
Hmm.
in the popular culture. But I didn't really get too into actual, like media pop culture.
About mermaids?
I mean we can talk about it, but I didn't like write down any
Oh, oh,
specifics.
oh.
Obviously The Little Mermaid, and we
Barbie?
finished
Barbie was a
watching
mermaid at one point.
the
John Cena?
Doctor Who episode is that we're up to the Siren episode of Doctor Who, the
Hmm.
Black Spot one.
Hmm.
That's the next one for us to watch. So I thought that was fun timing.
What did Shannon think of the Van Gogh episode?
He had seen the end of it.
Oh, okay. It's all
Like,
over the internet, like
yeah.
clips of it.
Like Shannon still uses Tumblr to be clear, so
Yeah. Oh yeah. When that episode came out, it was huge.
yeah.
It was huge. Like,
So he'd seen like the end of it and he said it was he really liked the episode. He said it was hard to feel invested in it when he knew what was going to happen at the end, so it didn't strike him as it would have if he was seeing it for the first time, you know.
yeah.
But he still really liked it. He did shed a tear last night when we watched the Christmas Carol special
Really?
with Dumbledore. Yeah, just the part where he was showing where it's like tiny Kazarin is seeing old Kazarin, and
Yeah.
he's like, "Is this what you want to be?" And that made him cry for whatever reason. That episode always makes me cry, but it's her singing.
Yeah, same.
It's like, oh, it's so pretty. She's a siren. Oh,
Oh,
she is singing the
other
fish.
other mermaids.
Splash
Oh.
with wasn't that about a mermaid?
Aquamarine. Arnar!
Oh,
Clear! Condensation.
uh,
But so you'd mentioned who was it that saw the corpses on the beach?
Pliny.
Yeah. I was thinking,
Pliny.
what about like dolphins? Like dolphin skeletons
Yeah,
do look in a way like parts of dolphin skeletons look quite similar to humans,
yeah.
especially like the hips, the
Mm-hmm.
ribs,
Mm-hmm.
shit like that. Like, do you remember we talked about there's that subreddit I follow and
Yeah,
have been a
yeah.
part of. People will post, they'll be like, I was on the beach and I saw this bone. Is it human? Everyone in the comments is like, it's probably a dolphin. It's probably a dolphin. Probably a seal. So,
Well, they are mammals, so
yeah. And just certain bones are, it's like,
yeah.
oh yeah, that I can see where you'd get confused.
Yeah,
Kind of like people when they look at ape skeleton
yeah.
bones, they're like,
Like
oh, it's a human.
at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what animal it comes from, a femur always looks like a femur. It might
Yeah,
look different, but it
yeah,
always is it's always very clearly a femur.
yeah. And if you have literally no experience putting these different species bones next to each other,
Yeah.
how are you gonna know?
Yeah, it's
How are you gonna know?
anybody's guess.
You've literally never seen a bone before outside of like an
Yeah.
X-ray or a picture or whatever. How
Hmm.
would you know?
Yeah.
You don't know what it feels like. You don't know what it like, the weight of it, like none of
Yeah.
that.
And like honestly, at the end of the day, I mean, I think a lot of stuff gets sensationalized, obviously, in shows like Bones and everything. But at the end of the
Yeah,
day, even professionals need something to compare it to
yeah,
really
big
differentiate.
time.
Like it doesn't you don't just know, like I mean, obviously Tim Brennan does, but real people don't just know.
Yeah, and I think those who do that kind of work, um, the only thing they can know for sure is whatever they got their PhD in. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Something super niche. Yeah.
Yeah, something so specific, like the way that the fibula is shaped one direction or the
What's your
other.
favorite bone?
My favorite bone
Yeah.
for when I was in college, it was the lunate,
Oh.
right?
Oh.
Now,
Why?
I just like the way that it's shaped
Yeah.
and the way that you can so clearly pick it
Yeah.
out and which side it's from. Um, it's cute. What's
Was
my
always
favorite
a
bone?
big I was always a big hyoid fan.
Oh, I knew that.
Yeah.
I knew that. I remember you
Because
telling
it's
me.
so weird.
It's so weird and hard to find.
And it's the only bone in the body that's not articulated with another
Yeah.
bone.
And it
And
looks so different from all the other bones.
yeah.
Shit, I don't know. I'm gonna say
I also like
Fuck.
the iliac crest specifically because it's fun to say.
The iliac crest.
Yeah.
Um, the sphenoid is interesting.
Sphenoid, yeah.
I
Or
think
like
I'll probably go with that one.
like your all your tiny ear bones are always also really
Oh yeah.
interesting. Yeah.
I knew someone was like, I just think the lacrimal bone is so cool. Like, get out. Get out of here. No one likes you.
Also
Um,
mandibles are pretty fun, but
mandibles are pretty fun. I was gonna
yeah.
say that was like I was debating between that, the tibia and the sphenoid. But I feel like the tibia is such a basic bitch answer, but I don't know. I kind of like the tibia and the fibula because I have broken both of those. So,
I've never broken a bone. I technically, well, I think I had maybe fractured a rib, but it also just could have been really bad bruising because
I feel like that doesn't even
it's
count though. You know what I
so
mean?
hard. Yeah.
Like you didn't have to wear a cast or anything.
Yeah. Yeah, I've never had to wear a cast. I've never had to like have a bone set or anything like that.
Yeah.
Um,
Um, my I've broken the same ankle twice. Oh, there goes Seth. On each side. The sorry. The so it's my right ankle, the tibia side on
mhm.
the interior of my ankle, which I'm blanking on directions of the human body. Proximal, sure, whatever. Um, and I've broken the tip of my fibula off. That's why I have a
Ugh.
screw in my ankle because I screwed back.
Oh,
They like screw from the bottom and like went up. Yeah. And that's what was like, I told you about this before. That's what was like pressing into the nerve.
no. I didn't even know
That,
you had a screw in your ankle unless you told me and I forgot.
oh yeah. So I have a scar there from the surgery that like if I touch it, I can't feel
Hmm.
because the nerve damage was fun.
Yeah, fuck that. Oh, I was just thinking about my mom's when my mom broke her shoulder right when COVID started and she didn't go to the doctor about it.
Yeah.
She literally broke the head off of her uh humerus.
Oh, that's right. I remember
Yeah,
you
that's
saying
why,
that.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah.
and after
Girl,
two,
how does that even happen?
she tripped over, or she like slipped on one of the dog's bones, like on the kitchen linoleum. So she like slid and like had
The
her
way that
arm
it,
had her arm out when she
yeah, yeah,
fell,
yeah.
like, oh,
And it
and just
probably braced against her clavicle and fucking,
broke the
oh,
whole head of it off. So that's why she has limited motion in her, it's her left, no, it's her right arm, it's her dominant hand.
yeah, because she couldn't drive.
Yeah, because she couldn't drive because she has a stick shift and she couldn't
Hmm.
shift. Finally, when lockdown was, I mean, she waited like 2 years to go to the doctor about it because of COVID. And they were like, well, we can re-break it to set it properly. And she was just like, no, thanks. So, yep.
If she can still manage to do what she does with this range of motion, then,
Yeah, she just has a hard time. Like, if something were behind that seat in the car and she needed
mm,
to like reach behind, she has a hard time with that, like
I would just
reaching.
have to like get out.
Yeah.
That sucks.
Or she has a hard time with getting things from like high up because she
Yeah.
can't her this arm it's like this is as high up as she can get this arm. It doesn't go all
Mm.
the way up.
Man, the human body's fascinating.
So,
But, old people do
yeah.
be having brittler bones.
Yeah,
So
well
they break so
she
easy.
had a bone density done and everything, and she has like really healthy bones still, like for her age and everything.
Okay.
Like her bones are younger than her
Yeah.
technically. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, whatever. My dad had my dad was on disability for like a year because he had the kind of osteoporosis that is like caused by repetitive injury, like transient osteoporosis, I think. Like the kind that's
I
not
think that's what my
permanent.
dad has.
And it was just from like a repetitive injury when he was working in a factory,
Yeah.
and it was in his hip.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Hip injuries, like low back hip injuries or like pain. I only wish that on my worst enemies.
Speaking of. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there was that one time I got hit by a car.
Yeah. Throwback. And now George's hip pops all weird.
It sure does. It doesn't the weirdest thing is like it never bothered me at the time, but I was young, so I just kind of bounced back. But now that I'm getting older, it's just like,
It's
oh
like
yeah,
more noticeable.
that kind of fucked me up a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
And when I lived in Manhattan, Nick Jones used to do because he when he first went to school, he ended up getting his degree in like conservation, forestry, something like that. But when he was first going to school, when I first met him, he was getting his degree in athletic training.
Cool.
So he worked with like all the university sports teams with like injuries and stretching and that kind of stuff. And so like every time he would come over, he would realign my hips for me, like on the dining room table. He would like pull on my legs and
Yeah.
like
I loved getting that done at the chiropractor. It was like
oh
my favorite thing.
yeah. Well, and just having someone be able to come over and do it at your house for you is
Yeah.
amazing.
Hell yeah.
Oh,
While you were telling that story, Luna did a big stretch.
oh,
It was so cute. I just
oh.
saw her little stumpy leg like do like a roll over kind of and then roll back, and I was like, I don't know if you saw my face, but I was like,
I didn't know.
it was so cute. I wanted to interrupt so bad so you could see, but I didn't. Aww.
She's just a blob.
She's just a blob.
My little
She's just
blob.
a
Right,
void, a blobby void
right there with Mr. Blobby.
with Mr. Blobby.
But yeah, that's all I got about mermaids, man.
That's Mermaids.
I mean,
I loved
yeah.
playing mermaids as a child. I would play mermaids at my neighbor Tiffany's pool.
I don't think I ever played mermaids as a child, but I also lived on a beach, so
Yeah.
but it was a cold beach.
Yeah.
You only go into this, well, the sea is also really dirty there too. I mean, I've been in it many times, but I would not say that it's healthy to go into.
Right. You just gotta take an everything shower afterwards.
Yeah. One time I vividly remember wearing a one-piece bathing suit, and I just sat on the beach and was like, I'm just gonna fill this motherfucker with sand. And so I just pulled my bathing suit up. So I just had this like
Did you look like
big
pregnant?
old pregnant sand belly. Yeah.
Oh my god.
I don't have a lot of memories from childhood because
You know.
mental illness. But for whatever reason, that one stuck with me. It's probably what I learned. Probably because that's how I learned that sand should not go in certain places.
Yeah. No shit.
Uh,
Well, I have to pee.
okay. The end. Thanks for
The
coming
end.
to the convention if you came to the convention. Thanks for buying our stuff.
Or thank you for joining us for the first released episode after noticing us at the convention and checking us out.
Did you see my lights flicker? It's because my AC turned on.
I did notice that.
Well, that concludes this week's broadcast. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you wish to stay in touch, reach out to us at broadcastfromthebelfry@gmail.com or stalk us on Instagram at broadcastfromthebelfry. Again, I hope you've enjoyed our little show. Please rate and review. And until next week, stay spooky.